Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CItizenAY, the platform where we speak truth to power. This afternoon, we want to talk about something more quite sad. A government, the job of every government is to provide medical care for its citizens. Under Section 17.3, of the Nigerian Constitution, 17.3D, it states, and I quote, "The state social order is founded on ideas of freedom, equity, and justice." And then it says, 3. The state shall direct its policy towards ensuring that D. There are adequate medical and health facilities for all persons. That's what it states under Section 17.3D. From what I've just read to you, I can tell you conclusively that didn't happen in this case. Instead, the state absolved itself of its responsibilities and somehow by nefarious means allowed the creation of what it can be termed correction. They call it correctional facilities that has no official protection or official guidance and overseer to see an official person monitoring the development within such correctional facilities, to such an extent that they were taking people, making empty promises that they couldn't substantiate to people about the children that's in their care, when they were just taking money and then using religion under the guise of religion, using that in that correctional facility, oppressing and suppressing those kids. Watch this video. That tells you that we are in a failed nation. We are in a failed nation. And one more thing before I even go ahead. Under Section 33 or 34, Section 34, let me read something to you on Section 34. Section 34 states something, and I want you all to remember this. Section 34 states, "Every individual is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person, and accordingly, A. No person shall be subject to torture or inhuman degrading treatment. B. No person shall be held in slavery or servitude. And C. No person shall be required to perform forced or compulsory labor." That is under 34, Section 34 A, B, and C. Now, that's 34.1 A, B, and C. Now, why am I saying all of this? The next video that you will see that there is a total breakdown in our system of governance, because the correctional facility happened under the noses of the military, of the police, and all of the medical health facilities. They were nowhere to be found. And there should have been somebody overseeing this, ensuring that nothing like this took shape. They should have stopped this at the earliest opportunity. But because the system is not in place, that's why many kids have been put in there, and many of them have suffered inhumane treatment. Now, what should happen is there should be a compensation to each and every one of them that the state should actually provide, because of its failure to guide against this kind of thing. But sadly, in that contraption that we call Nigeria, it will never happen. And these are one of the things that we need to address when we get Ududua Nation. Watch this video.
The Oyo State Police Command, in its bid to secure lives and properties, has achieved another feat by unraveling an illegal correctional facility located in Olore area of Oyo, Ibadan. On the arrival of the Oyo State Commissioner of Police entourage and newsmen, after they were being alerted to what goes on in the area, the victims of the illegal correctional facilities were crying for help from a locked-up room. In reaction, the Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Shino Olukolu, described the situation as man's inhuman acts to other fellow beings.
At Olore, Oyo area of Ibadan. And actually, when the police got here, we discover that young men, young women are being kept in captivity in a dungeon-like situation. As a matter of fact, man's inhumanity to man is being manifested in this environment. And we are not happy about the situation.
Most victims were taken to the center by their parents as a result of the manifestations of behaviors in them.
Here for over 4 years without doing anything. Some people were brought here, they tell their parents that an evil spirit has been possessing their children. Our parents pay 30,000 at times. They give us 2,000 out of 30,000. The clerics, they take the remaining 28,000. Our parents, what's happened is that those people they convince our parents that this place is pure established school, whereby they inspire us to become greater leaders in future. Whereas it's the opposite. This place, they just bring us they tell our parents that we are being killed by the Quran, whereas it's a lie. If you come here, I don't see myself on the floor. Please, brother. I've been here since 2 years ago.
I come from Ikorodu because I'm smoking. They knock on Jama Gate today for that place. Go help us. There's a Jama Gate there. Jama Gate, they lock them. They don't fit come out.
Some of the locked up victims recanted their ordeals.
I'm a student of UNLAG. Yes. What level? 300 level.
Studying what?
Mathematics. Yes. People die here due to sickness. When you tell them you're having malaria, they give you paracetamol every day. What brought me here? My brother brought me here.
You can see dead body buried inside the house next to people. That's not a correctional facility. I mean, that is inhuman. It's inhumane. It's horrible. And where are the systems of governance to identify, to prevent this from actually happening? This is a failure of governance. And this has been in existence for over 10 years in Ibadan. So multiple administrations have got questions to answer, including the current government. Yes, they found it, but for it to even be in operation, this is terrible. Each and every one of those kids should be paid compensation. And these are the kind of things that we want to address when we have Oduduwa Nation. This is why we say that contraption is a failure. It has failed completely. Then there's no interest in the well-being of the citizens, only the exploitation of the citizens. And this is what we get when that happens. Let's watch on.
He got advice from someone, from a neighbor, telling him that there's a place at Ibadan that they take care of people, they make people better, that they make people just well, that after staying for longer, you become a very good person, you become alpha in life, you become this, you become a knowledgeable person. Whereas everything is like, even the knowledge they teach here is fake. If you compare what we learn here to the original Arabic, it's fake. It's not even the same thing. It doesn't tally.
As at the time that the correctional facility was invaded, many of them were malnourished, mentally and physically unstable, while some were badly infected with skin rashes. Also present was the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Inclusion in Oyo State, CItizenAY, who said the state government is on top of its game on the issue.
I know it's a very pathetic issue.
Commissioner for Welfare, CItizenAY, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Inclusion. This is not about social inclusion. This is about the failure of a system. Yet again, there is the police and the healthcare system, the social, in a way, okay, the social inclusion maybe should be included in that, maybe. But what should be happening, there should be, where is the medical team in all of this? If something is wrong with somebody psychologically, mentally, that doesn't mean they are put in a correctional facility. They are medically assessed by qualified doctors, psychiatrists, doctors, assessment, spoken to, nurses, doctors. That is the environment they should be in, not in a correctional facility. This issue about mental health is something that is afflicting millions of so-called Nigerians that the government simply don't want to deal with. They just say, put them in a correctional facility and we just deal with them. They're not dealing with, and the symptoms of this medical, the mental health issues they have is because of the environment that we're in. The environment where the infrastructure needed for the well-being of everybody is non-existent. That's the problem. But instead of dealing with that, they try and let somebody else, they say that's not the problem, somebody else will deal with it. So when they come with this statement, I know she means well, but when we look beneath all of that, the system of governance should have picked up all of this. There should be no facilities. There should be anything that's going to run. If you're going to do anything, there should be a record of what you're doing, especially when there are people involved, when there are children involved. There should be records that goes directly to the local government, the state government, the federal government, so that they know who is where, why, and how. But of course, the system with, but let me just bring it back. 1 second, I'll bring that back. I'll bring that right back. 1 second, please. It's just been difficult. So I'll just quickly do this. I'll bring it back, and it will be back in a second. I'm just trying to tell you about that situation, and I'll go back to it, bring it back from where we left off, and you will see what I was saying. So let's bring that back up there.
The Oyo State placed command in its bid
So these are the things that is a problem. I'm going to stop there. Now let's bring it back in again, and you can hear the young man talk a bit more, and then we can wrap it up.
This is becoming
Sorry, not there. Here we go. It was here. That's it.
I know it's a very pathetic issue. What we cannot preempt anything now, but we are going to take care of the situation. That's what I can. Adequate care will be taken to rescue these children as you are seeing them.
One of the teachers that was interrogated claimed that they were using Quranic teachings to mold the lives of the victims.
So,
he's telling lies. You see, here's one of the things that we need to be doing. What should be happening is more or less being interrogated. Even for this man, there should be, even though he did something wrong. You see, if the display of how we treat each other is what people will continue to do, he should have been interrogated, arrested, taken to court, interrogated. They could have just said, no, he's not taking any questions. He's been arrested. Let's give him a chance. He can get a lawyer. He will speak. Do that in that way. Not interrogate him in the open like this. And, that's taking power into your own hands. We need to start showing respect for ourselves in how we treat each other. What is done is wrong. But even if we can show that despite what is wrong, the system will treat him fairly so that he will know that he got a fair system even despite what he did. And that will send a message to everybody that our system is fair and we must be fair towards each other. I know when you look at it, you think, oh, yeah, but that's we are working on emotions. It's important that we deal with these things in the right manner. And again, I go back to the issue of mental health. Over 50% of people in that nation called Nigeria must be suffering from some kind of mental health or the other because of the lack of infrastructure that impacts their daily lives, that makes it difficult for them to survive, to survive from one day to the next without worrying about how they're going to get through the day. And that's the major problem. Let's listen on.
àtàwọn tó ti fẹ́ kú náà tẹ kó sínú kinní tán dàbí ẹrun orí rẹ̀
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn míì kò sáwọn kankan
àwọn náà ẹ̀ ń gbàdúrà fún wọn ni.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn míì tí wọ́n ti mu cocaine tó yẹ pé wọ́n ti mu cocaine wọ́n ti gbẹ ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbẹ.
ọmọ tí yín mélòó ló wà nínú àwọn tẹ kó sínú ilé.
àwọn ọmọ tiwa tàbí àjọ ń jẹun ni àjọ ń gbé ni.
ọmọ tí yín mélòó ló wà nínú ilé yìí tọwọ́ sọmọ ẹ̀ tó wà nínú ilé bíi tọwọ́ sí ọmọ ẹ̀ tó wà nínú níjò mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta táwọn èèyàn wà yìí tọwọ́ sọmọ ẹ̀ tó wà mẹ́.
The Commissioner of Police, Shino Olukolu, therefore assured that the state government will care for the freed victims.
The state government has told the police that they are ready to take care of these people and ensure that they are properly kept, properly treated, well fed, and treated as human beings, unlike the way they are being treated like animals in this environment.
We are very happy. God will do all what you want for you. Thank you so much. Amen.
In all, 34 females, 191 males, 11 children, and 23 sick ones who had been detained and chained for the past 2 to 10 years were evacuated from the correctional facility, while the Oyo State Police Force continues its investigation to unravel the whole scenario.
When they tell you something hell, something more than hell, this is the place. It's worse. You sleep with your side. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. See, I'm about.
Uluwaseun Oyebade, CITV News.
So there you've watched the video there. I hope, I mean, it's harrowing. But look, this issue here, and I want to do a program about mental health. I actually want to do a program about mental health and how we can, and how the lack of infrastructure in our governance is having a huge impact on the medical health of the citizens. When I talk about infrastructure, lack of electricity, running water, hospital care, lack of schools, lack of systems where people can, toilets. These are things that people will be worrying about on a personal level on a daily basis. That puts enormous stress on your mental well-being. And that can make people react. I've seen pictures of women or videos of women walking down the street, suddenly tearing off their clothes because they've lost it. The stress of the failure of the government to provide infrastructure for them has hit them mentally. And some people will say, oh, it's just gone crazy. The environment is to blame. And who is managing the environment? The governance. And the governance is to blame. And this is the problem. And when we separate from this contraption called Nigeria going forward, if indeed they do not go for a referendum, if they don't do a referendum, if they don't insert a referendum inside the constitution, I'm not talking about restructuring, forget all that. I'm talking about they need to insert a referendum in the constitution, and that constitution has to be redrawn because the local government areas, the local government authorities that they have, or the local government areas, is a fraud. The numbers of the seats that they have for the north being more than the south is a fraud. All of it has to be reworked. That has to be reworked first and foremost. But in any case, we need a referendum inserted in that constitution. And this kind of thing that's happening will be addressed the minute we have that referendum, because it will give us the clause, should those in government continue to do what they're doing, people will have the right to self-determination to go their own way. This is a disaster. Millions are suffering from mental health. I'll go into that subject later on. This is the correction. There should be nothing like a correctional facility. What you'll be looking for is medical help, psychiatric help, allied to medical help, which is what it is, because there will be psychiatric doctors who can assess them, medical doctors who can assess them, physical health, mental health. They are all connected. Nothing to do with the church. They fail to address anything to do with the physical or mental health, and they say, oh, correctional facility, and they're going to read the Bible. This is the madness that we're facing because of the lack of infrastructure. Listen, I thank you all very much for watching. Please do share this podcast. Thank you. Take care. Bye now.